Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Green Hydrogen Summit. We now have a couple of back-to-back sessions as part of our transport showcase. So leading us off, we have Dr. Arndt Beer from Gelsenwasser. If you can join me on the screen. Just about. There we go. Perfect. So Dr. Beer is going to take us through some of the work that Gelsenwasser is doing in the area and with the hydrogen space. So I'm going to pass straight over to you, Arndt, to go through that. Again, if you have any questions or anything you would like to post, please post it into the Zoom chat, and we will pass it over to Dr. Beer at the end of the session. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, George. Thanks for having me for this very interesting topic. A topic that is very important for us at Gelsenwasser. And I'd like to show you some slides about what we're doing and about what's interesting for us. So now you can see the first one. Gelsenwasser is like the word.
Sorry, Dr. Beer, we can't see the slides at the moment.
You can't see the slides?
Can't see the slides just yet.
So we just have to change that. Do I have to do something, or
just the share screen button, and then and then click on your presentation?
Guck mal. Jetzt ist aber irgendwie mein Ding weg. Okay, I'm back.
There we go. Perfect. And then just in the full screen, and then we're all good to go.
You see them, George?
I can do, yes. We're on the map page. Yeah. Thank you very much.
On the map. Okay. No. Thank you for waiting. So just a short information about the company that I'm talking from, and I'm sitting. We are in North Rhine-Westphalia, in the heart of Germany, a very industrial region, and we are sort of a regional player owned by municipalities. And that card that map's just showing you that we are not only a water provider who are providing cities, municipalities with drinking water, but as well we supply them with electricity, more and more electricity, to be honest. But the heart is natural gas. We are running right now 32 distribution grids, smaller and middle-sized municipalities with natural gas, and we are therefore very much interested in the future. Which is determined by politics. We are now at the 4th day. We all know that this topic, hydrogen, is very much driven by climate politics. Climate neutrality requires a full shift for us. And we're not talking about the energy sector or the industry sector, which are very much the focus of the discussion of the German politics, but we are already talking during the last couple of months, talking about the buildings sector and housing. Some of you might know that we will have a federal election this autumn in Germany, and therefore the situation is quite nervous. And it's difficult to say precisely what will happen. We have a federal court, constitutional court verdict from last week, which was quite interesting, which was saying that our politics are too slow in order to fulfill the climate goals that we are all committed to. On the right side, you see before and after. The politicians quite fastly reacted on this verdict because of the election. This is the main reason. And you see that we will have to be climate neutral 5 years before than we thought in the planning. Right now, the plans will not be 2050, but 2045. That does mean the pressure is higher than it was before in order to decarbonize all the sectors. And I think that we're here for is that hydrogen, green hydrogen, to be honest, will be one of the main pillars. Of course, electricity is the first one. We will talk about this later, I guess, but hydrogen is on the main focus. That's why we discussed it during the last 4 weeks. And it's for German politics, it's not only about the mobility and industry and energy sector, but as well at a part of the heating sector. The policy is right at the moment is that hydrogen, green hydrogen, has to be used mainly in the industry and in energy sectors because these are the so-called hard to abate industries that have no alternation, have no other way to decarbonize. And I think this is not the whole truth about climate politics. I have some theses that I wanted to share and discuss with you. When you see at all the energy consumption, primary energy consumption figures, I think that's the case in whole Europe, but mainly in the high industrialized country of Germany, and we'll see that the task is huge. You see that 85% of primary energy has to be substituted by climate neutral energy. Here is 2050, right now it's 2045. And on the right side, you see that the green part only is renewable energy. Right now, it's mostly electricity, a little bit of gases, but I think if it's 85 or 90%, it's renewable energy. The left side is the one that will not longer exist in 2050. And we have to take that in mind and keep that in mind when we say that we will electrify all the sectors by renewable energy. I just wanted to make sure that a company like Gelsenwasser is like most of the municipal suppliers, very keen on producing renewable electricity. We are running at the moment projects with about 140 megawatt in planning for wind turbines. We are planning photovoltaic, and we think that there is huge potential in Germany when it comes to the possibilities and technical options. But everybody that looks at the figures will see that it's not enough, that electricity will not be enough to decarbonize all these huge sectors, especially when we use electric vehicles in order to decarbonize the mobility sector and transport sector. So everybody says that green hydrogen is not there. It's right. Right now, at the moment, of course, it is champagne, like we say in German politics, a scarce energy source. But that doesn't have to be like that. It's the same like with renewable electricity. We have to ramp it up. We have to build huge markets, and we have to do it fast in order to fulfill them. Germany is like Europe, having very bringing very much effort into corporations and to building transport lines and internal strategies to import capacities. And we do know that Morocco, Saudi Arabia, Australia, and even especially in Europe, Spain, other countries, we do have great opportunities to produce green hydrogen, will ramp up their capacity. So we all, of course, don't know how much and how fast it's going to be, but it's not like this is not a chance. Some of you might know the industry corporation, which is called H2 Global from the federal government, which is very interesting because it tries to be quite concrete in building up import capacities for the German market. So it is scarce, but it doesn't have to be. The thing that brings me to the distribution grids is distribution grid is mainly supplying the housing sector and the building sector. This is the truth, and that comes with a lot of political implications regarding climate neutrality, which are different than the ones from energy and from industry. But it's not only the private persons. 90% of industry is connected to the distribution grid, and it's in between the private consumers. We have a huge cooperation in Germany with distribution grids operators that found out that about 1,300 industry users are connected to the grid. 50% of the entire quantity of natural gas right at the moment are used for industrial processes. And it's about 50% of gas consumption that is used for industrial processes. So the thing is, heating and industry technically have to be seen as a unit. They have to be partners when it comes to decarbonizing, because we don't know a concrete figure right at the moment, but I think it's going to be 75% of these industrial users in the distribution grids need high temperatures for their processes. It depends on the products, of course, but many of them need high temperatures of 200, 300, some of them 500 degrees Celsius. And that process heat still cannot be produced by electricity. We have one project with zinc. Zinc is metal galvanizing processes, a middle-sized industry here in Gelsenkirchen that was trying to change his process, and was not possible to do that on electricity. So right at the moment we have discussions with politics that the theory that industry is first is right when it comes to isolated industries, big industries like steel, but it's not. It's only a small part of the industry, and it's not fulfilling the task that we do have to. The second thing is the heating market itself needs a solution. We all know that big parts of the heating market will be supplied in about 10, 20, 30 years, maybe by heat pumps, because this technology has a lot of potential, but not in every building system. And I think some of the partners yesterday talked about this topic very good, that 50% of the households are gas supplied. It's about 12, I think it's more, it's 13 million heaters in Germany that are gas fired. So this is a huge and social politics implying task to give them a solution. And the performance of heat pumps are discussed right at the moment when it comes to -0 degrees. I'm not pretty sure if it's right to say that they are not working. We're still talking to the heating people who know about that, so I'm not very sure. But if, of course, it's not having a good performance when it comes to -5 degrees or even colder. Some other problems are there that you all know. That renovation rate is about 1% per year in Germany, which is much too slow to fulfill the climate goals. We're lacking manpower and lacking motivation, like I said here, by housing owners because of different reasons. So I think we have to make sure, and these discussions are getting better now, that we have no solution that goes into only one direction. I think we need every technology that's possible. We need every chance to use renewable energy, and we do have to do it fast. And we have to ramp up these markets, and we might use the infrastructure for that. I think the discussion is very much at the beginning. Of course, it's right to talk about finance and about production of green hydrogen, because right at the moment, this is the game changer. Because just to make clear, the infrastructure is not only a natural gas infrastructure. This is infrastructure that can use any gas who can be transported through that by adaptation of some things and some materials. Most of the materials when it comes to polyethylene are very easy to use for hydrogen. Some of them have to be changed. Of course, there has to be some investments in some parts of the country. And just to talk about the Gelsenwasser net, of course, some investment would have to be done to change it. We are trying that out in a project. Right now, we do have 2 projects dealing with grids. One is trying the blending of about 30%, and the other one is trying 100% hydrogen. And we will find out in the next 2 years, maybe 3 years, if there are big showstoppers. But right now, at the moment, everyone says that will not be the problem to transport hydrogen. The problem will be, is there a market for the commodity? And are there companies enough that jump into that market? Right now, green hydrogen is very expensive, and it's expensive because it's handmade, tailor-made production by few companies. And we all know this is big scale business. It's just very much about scaling up to drive down the costs. So we need more producers in the market. And producers, if you ask me, they do come with demand, and sure and clear demand. And that is a huge chance that can be a plus for the heating market, because the heating market has a very sure demand, quite easy to see, strategic, not very problematic. So if you want to ramp up a market, I think ideas like blending, like tariffs have to be set on the table, because it's not realistic to change a system 100% green hydrogen, and it's not realistic to build up such huge production markets without any safety of demand. So I'd say that and there are some figures about the distribution grid gas that you might already know. I was talking about the distribution grids. They are very they're very big and very. I think it's 500,000 kilometers in Germany, so it's almost everywhere you can reach them. And the H2 grids, or the grid planning on the transportation side, is very good as well. You all know that because you heard of it yesterday. This is just a part from Germany, but there is the European hydrogen backbone planning. So I think the transport there's discussions what is more expensive, that there will be shipping, LNG, or you all know the other sorts of transportation, ammonia and all these things. But in order to bring green hydrogen to the market and to the customers, we will need the distribution grids. And by using the distribution grids, might have the chance to ramp up a market. So this is my hope for the next years, where we're going to see this argument and talk about this topic in that way, because I think 2045 is a goal that we all will fulfill. This is a part of the transportation grid. It's called H2 start grid. You can see on the left side around Hanover, Essen. This is the area that I'm coming from, talking about Essen, heart of the industrial sector and heart of the energy sector of Germany. And this is one of the main areas where, if you ask me, where green hydrogen will be, if not here and at the border of the Northern Sea, then it's going to be nowhere, because here is the big demand, and with demand it comes to suitable costs, and that is important, I guess. There are some ideas for political options that are to be discussed with transportation. I think the political idea is the second step. If you have to talk about the first step, why distribution grids are important and why there has to be a chance to build them, because there's asset lying on the ground, and why shouldn't we use it? The regulatory framework should then be adopted if we are sure that we use this distribution grids for the customers. Then of course we have to imply the changing the game changer costs into the transportation regulatory, because otherwise it won't work. We can think about anything else, bonus of conversion of customer devices. These are some ideas that we talked about in this round of distribution grid drivers. I think there's a lot of political ideas how you can incentivize these markets by using these grids. Important is the underlying idea that by ramping up, hydrogen markets can be orchestrated. And I'm not talking about blue hydrogen. I think it will be possible for very fastly, right from the start, for the green hydrogen market. Thank you very much for hearing me, and I'm happy for any question.
Thank you so much for that. Let me just take down the presentation. So yes, I think there are a couple of points in the chat at the moment across quite a bit of what you were talking about. I think I would ask, maybe I think it's Jürgen Lorenz putting there, if you've got a specific kind of question that you could then put that across to Dr. Baer, then we could discuss that. I guess part of what I wanted to ask, just to kind of start the Q&A, was really about, you talked a lot about internal transport within Germany, how you view then export markets forming, pan-European pipelines, how that kind of stuff comes together, obviously further down the line, but how you see the kind of regulatory side of that, how people are interacting on that side.
I think that if you ask me, this is a discussion that has to be solved and will be solved on the European side. This is one of the big questions that right now at the moment is discussed and will be, as far as I know, not be included into the so-called gas package, but there will be a sort of connection with the hydrogen strategy to the gas package. So of course, there will be some regulatory hydrogen package which will come into autumn, and we are all watching that and looking forward to that ideas, because we have to solve that on a European level, because it doesn't make sense to do isolated solutions in one countries. And I think we do all have the same goals of climate neutrality, one country faster and one slower. The thing is, I think in Europe, the discussion is not at the end. Like yesterday, I heard that, I mean, you know, the committees of the European Parliament are different. The ENVI committee is very strict when it comes to green hydrogen, which is good for me. I think it's right, and you have to talk about green hydrogen, but we all know that it's the problem that Mr. Lawrence, of course, was talking about. I guess it's we all have to prove that it's going to work, but I mean, without to be cynical, nothing is proved right at the moment. The solution that comes up with just energy efficiency or just renewable energy isn't proved as well. We'd like to see that, and we'd like to have a ramp up of renewable energy, but we don't see that right at the moment. So we have to find out and to try everything. And regulatory questions are, I think, the second one. The regulatory has not the plan to fix out what kind of technology has to be used. It just have to make sure that that acid and transportation grids can be used in a proper manner, and it's very difficult to do that solutions at the moment in this unclear future. I'm very aware of that.
Thank you. Yeah, I can see it, and just to reply in the chat for those on the recording, it was saying that hydrogen will always be a more expensive good against direct use of renewable energy. That's why you can't squander it for all purposes and use it blindly. But I think that's kind of
well, we'll see. I don't know.
Anyway, yeah,
I don't think so.
Exactly. So okay, perfect. I think we're right up against time here with this session. We have another session starting in just a couple of minutes, so I'm going to have to end the session there. Thank you so much to Dr. Beer for coming and sharing his thoughts. If there are any more comments or questions, please feel free to put them into the networking app, and you can directly message Dr. Beer and any of the other speakers as well. Otherwise, I will see you in the next session starting almost immediately. So go to the agenda and I will see you there. Thanks very much.